get started. Okay. Welcome all to today's general monthly membership meeting for PAYCO. Today is Tuesday, October the 17th of 23. We have a couple of announcements, just things that are coming up. Our workers' comp roundtable is scheduled for Thursday, October 19th. Next week on the 24th, PAYCO is having our fall happy hour at Getaway Brewing in Dublin. And then on October 25th, the Legal Aid Society and Columbus Bar Association are hosting a pro bono celebration, which is going to be a very special evening. One of PAYCO's own paralegals, Susan Grom, is going to be recognized for her dedication to pro bono services. The event is free. It's at the Columbus Bar Association's offices, but you do have to register, and the link for registration is up on the website. So check the website for more information on that. Then on October 26th, Sophia Chang from the Ohio Justice Foundation is going to be joining us for a discussion of access to justice issues. So if you haven't registered for that, you will want to be sure to do that. Are there any other announcements from PAYCO leaders that are on the call? No? Okay, well then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. Our speaker today was to have been Lindsay Corbin, who is the president of Delegate.legal. Lindsay was unable to join us, and in her place today, joining us is Nikki Lentz, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Delegate Legal. She has over 30 years of experience in technology, support, development, and process management across the corporate and private sectors. Nikki works to integrate the assortment of legal platforms with each other and create a simplified, streamlined flow to increase productivity. Prior to joining the Delegate.legal team in 2020, Nikki was the Director of Operations and Development for Fun Brands LLC in Scottsdale, Arizona, where she headed up multiple teams and worked to improve the technology and systemic processes within the company for the franchisees. Nikki has a love of wolves, dogs, and when not working, she's an avid cyclist who has completed over 35 triathlons, including the Arizona Half Ironman. Welcome, Nikki.
Hey, thank you. I always like to throw in that little bit of personal information along with the business stuff. So thank you for having us. I'm sorry Lindsay wasn't able to attend. She got triple booked today and it just wasn't possible to arrange for her to be here. But Lindsay and I both, well, Lindsay started the company and I joined at the inception of it as a kind of getting the processes and systems and everything that's needed for the paralegals to be able to do the work and for our clients to be able to communicate with paralegals and the rest of the team. So if you have any questions, please feel free to either post in the chat or just let me know and I'll be happy to answer anything. We do have a PowerPoint, so I'm going to share that. Here we go. Can you see that? I want to make sure everybody can see the PowerPoint. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to run through this real quick. There's the disclaimer. Of course, this is not legal advice. Always want to consult an attorney. Okay, just a little bit about Lindsay. So Lindsay's actually, and this is a little outdated, but she has actually been in IP paralegal for over 20 years, specifically 15 years of experience with in-house and big law. So she started Delegate during the pandemic when everything kind of went haywire as a way to help the attorneys as well as help some paralegals be able to do work away from the office and not be in the office. So two types of paralegals, there's freelancers and full-time employees. Obviously, full-time employees we're all kind of familiar with. You work specifically with a firm or with an organization. Taxes are taken out, all of those kinds of things, potentially benefits, hopefully. As a freelancer, you work on a 1099, so you're responsible for your own taxes. Typically, you want to have your own business to put the taxes under. That's a relatively easy thing to do in no matter what state you're at for the most part, but there are legal requirements for those. I have another slide here, but maybe it's a little bit further on about setting up your entity. 3 tips to success for a virtual paralegal is technology, making sure that your technology, your tech stack, whatever you want to call it, helps you gracefully manage deadlines, helps you with automation, especially with all of the AI stuff that we're all hearing about. The systems and tools are starting to incorporate AI a lot more, which can make your life easier by building workflows, knowing exactly what system you're doing particular things in. And then communication is key with your clients as well as with anybody else that you're working with, whether it's foreign agents. We are specific to IP paralegal services. So while some of the things I might say, like foreign agents, we deal with those in an IP realm. Those of you that aren't in the IP industry, you may deal with them in different capacities. And of course, there's always different entities there. And then flexibility. So first comes technology. There are a bazillion different software tools. Some of them are cloud-based, which just strictly means that they're based on the internet. You can access them from anywhere. A lot of those tools are very, very helpful if you are a 1099, because sometimes you might find that you're not at your desk or you are potentially on vacation and having to do that work while you're on vacation. So being able to access things in the cloud can be very helpful. Some of the tools that we find helpful, obviously Microsoft Suite, or if you're a Mac person, then you have Pages and all of those. We do find that Microsoft Suite is typically more compatible with attorney firms. Most of them are working in those systems versus some incompatibility issues when it comes to Pages versus Word. But there are tools that can convert between the two systems. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind, that just because you might be familiar with a piece of software that they're not necessarily familiar with, you can typically find something that will bridge the gap between them. The next one is calendar/docketing system. There's an assortment of those. Typically, we see Alt Legal, Docket Track. We used to see TM Cloud. All of those systems manage deadlines as well as can integrate to your calendar. Other software calendaring systems you can use, obviously Google, Outlook, they have calendars. So depending on the deadlines that you're managing and the volume, those systems can also suffice in tracking your deadlines. So you don't necessarily have to pay for a tool depending on the volume that you're handling. Okay. PDF products, you have Adobe, you also have Foxit. Lindsay's a fan of Foxit. I'm an Adobe person, so not that it's a big debate. Each one of them will do the same things for you. They just do it in a little bit different way. There's also other free tools online, but be aware that with those free tools, there's usually a lack of capabilities. So you may find that you've been using a tool over and over, and suddenly you find you have to upgrade that tool to a paid version. So printer and scanner, those are integral. Typically, you're going to find yourself in a position of needing to print something, scan a document, and then incorporate that into a docket or into a communication with the client. Computer hardware, again, up to you whether you're a PC or a Mac. Either one will work. As a matter of fact, Microsoft Suite has a Mac version. So even if you are a Mackie, you can absolutely use Microsoft Office on that. And then document sharing. So those are like Dropbox, Google Drive, any kind of things like that. But be aware, I guess from a technology perspective, always be aware of the vulnerabilities of sharing documents and make sure that they are secure as you're working with attorneys. Obviously, there's the privacy and issues with information potentially leaking out. So always be careful with that and make sure that you're attentive to whatever system and use whatever security protocols that system has. Okay, the second one was communication. I can't stress enough how much communicating is critical if you're a 1099 paralegal or an independent paralegal working with a firm. Your clients are typically used to seeing a person, walking through the halls, those kinds of things. And if you're doing it remotely, that lack of visibility can be a really big problem for you. So over communicating, being in constant contact, whether that is via text or a chat message or emails, being attentive to emails, just so that they are aware that you are there, remember that you're there, asking for help, those kinds of things. And before you, as you take on a new client or as you start working with a new attorney, be aware of what their communication preferences are. Some of them are still very much email, and some of them have moved on to more technology like Slack or Messenger, whatever kind is their favorite. And some of them just like to get it on their phones through a text message. So. Okay. Flexibility. This is a fun one. So working from home can mean 8 to 5, but it can also mean 5 to 8. Right? And that can go both, right? Some days may be shorter, some days may be really, really long. So having your boundaries and communicating what working hours you are available is key. There are some things that will come in after hours that you can opt to help out with, right? If you choose to, but being aware, having them made aware of what the hours you're available are will curtail some of that. And also, if you step into those realms of taking on those after-hour issues or after-hour concerns, they need to be aware that this is like a one-time thing and not to expect that service unless it's something that you're providing for them. Focus, we use Focus within our calendar system. So I'll block hours, for example, when I have a meeting with a client, or if I need to work on a particular project, I block those hours so that everybody, my clients, my teammates, they're all aware of when I'm available, when I'm not available. Same thing with chat systems. Use the away and availables as much as possible so that people are aware of when they should ask you questions, reach out to you, and when you're going to be focusing on particular tasks. That is a hard thing to balance, I'll tell you straight up, just from working from home. It's very hard to say no to a client when they do pop into a focus time or something, but you'll kind of learn how to navigate those waters with each client. Okay, and then the other thing is a shared calendar that also helps continue to remind them of your availability. Okay, this is the part I was mentioning earlier on. So freelance paralegal business, forming entities, license permits, all of these things are integral if you go into a freelance paralegal position. Forming an entity so that you can keep your taxes separate, all of those things. We do recommend speaking to an accountant, obviously, as you go into this. We can't give you advice on this, but there are multiple types. We're an LLC in Arizona, but we do operate with clients all around the country. So that business, setting it up is not that complicated. You can hire an attorney to do it. Most states have an online portal where you can go and do this. But again, seeking the advice of what will be best given your specific situation. Sole proprietor is just you singly owning the business. LLC gives you a little more capability, and then corporation is a lot more complicated. So business license and permits, obviously there's state and local that you need to be aware of. So make sure you're talking to your local county, your state, understanding most of the information is available on the internet. And again, you can also engage a local attorney to find out exactly what you need, what you should have, to cover yourself, as well as make sure that when it comes to filing your taxes, you're putting enough money away. Establishing contracts. So we have a contract that we use for all of our contacts, every attorney that we work with. And it's specifically, we've actually had it vetted by an attorney. So I do recommend that as well once you get your contract together to make sure that you're covered. But it should very clearly state your services, what services you're applying to that particular client, or as a general broad term, the rates and taxes that you're going to charge, as well as who's responsible for those taxes, and the terms and boundaries. And in this part here is a good place to put your availability, right? You're going to be available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, East Coast time, West Coast time, because remember, you're going to probably, or you may find yourself in the position where you're crossing time zones. And so if you happen to be West Coast and you have 8 to 5 West Coast, but they don't realize it, you're getting a call at 5 o'clock in the morning. So that's not a very nice wake up call in the morning. So, okay. And then finding clients. There is a plethora of clients out there looking for assistance. Attorneys they're really starting to embrace not having a brick and mortar, not having someone full-time sitting in their office waiting for work, and engaging with a paralegal on a freelance term so that they can use them when needed, but they're also not responsible for paying the benefits and those kinds of things. So finding those clients, you can find them through having a website. Definitely, if you're going to be a freelancer, have some sort of a small footprint website. You can get these very, very inexpensively through GoDaddy. I don't even know the name, HostGator. There's a ton of them. You can find them out there. They're pretty cheap and very what you call WYSIWYG. So even if you're not a software developer or website developer, you can throw a very decent website up there so that when people are searching, they will find you. Okay, social media, obviously incorporating that, having a Facebook page, a TikTok, whatever it is that's your favorite social media. I'm seeing more and more attorneys start to appear in social media in places that they weren't before. It's not just a Facebook page, they're doing TikToks, and they're getting into bringing clients in and sharing information and educating through the different social media networks. Local networking, attend any conferences, any kind of work meetings, groups, those kinds of things. And then on your website, as you build your business, reviews, testimonials of the clients that you work with are very good at soliciting new people. So as they come across your website and they read a raving review from an attorney in the local area, maybe they know them, maybe they don't, but that will definitely pique their interest in you versus a stale, static web page that doesn't really convey your work ethic, right? That you're responsible, that you're timely, you're all of these things that they want to hear that they are going to get from you as they engage. Okay. And organization, conflict checks, imperative. We use Clio for our conflict checks. A lot of attorneys, you can pay to do conflict checks. As you grow, you can also just keep an Excel spreadsheet, and every time you take on a new client, make sure that there is no conflict you're going to have there. Daily calendaring, time blocking, timekeeping software. There are free versions out there. There are paid versions. We use one called Clockify that works really, really well. It doesn't necessarily import into things and do a lot of automated things, but what you can find it's pretty easy to export it and then put it into whatever timekeeping system the attorney might need, or to use that for your invoicing. Okay. Project management. This may be easy enough to keep inside of an Excel sheet, or you may find that managing your projects is going to require something like Dubsado or Monday, Trello. There's a whole bunch of project management tools. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. It just depends on what you need. But there's definitely great ones out there. We use several within our organization, and then each attorney kind of has their own that they like to use. So. Okay, and that was the end of the presentation. I know I kind of went through that fast. I'm not sure how much time I had, but if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask.
And Nikki, about how many employees do you have?
We have about 10, I think.
And you have about how many clients?
I don't know, close to 200.
Oh, really?
Really?
Wow.
So, and the nice thing is, as you develop your client base, is you have some that are kind of steady, right? They'll give you a little bit here and a little bit there. And then you have some that pop up once every 2 to 3 months. And suddenly there's a project. And once you develop that relationship with those attorneys, they're more eager to come to you with new topics, new tasks, right? So it may not be something that you said right in the get-go, I do this, this, and this, but they may go, hey, we are looking for somebody to go through and do XYZ. And it may be something that you're open to doing, and it may be something that you're not open to doing, but at least they're willing to come to you. And if you have the bandwidth and you want to do it, you can take it on.
And there's special areas of law are all across the spectrum, correct? It's not just 1, 2, 5 things.
You're talking about our clients in particular?
Yeah, the areas of law that they specialize in.
So we just pick up IP. So anybody that does any kind of IP, either prosecution or litigation, we don't deal with just litigating attorneys that aren't trademark, copyright, or patent.
So those rules are pretty much the same across the US and not state or local specific, I would imagine.
Correct. And then if the attorney has something state specific, then we obviously dig into that state, or we have someone that knows it, or there may be something that we just aren't capable of taking because we aren't specific to, say, New York or California. California is a good one. They have a whole lot of laws out there that make things a lot more complicated. And most of the time the attorneys are going to know that, so they're going to not expect us to specialize in that state. It'll be more of a general request. The good thing about nowadays is that almost everything is on the internet. And if you can hone your searching parameters, right? If you can learn how to search effectively, you can find most everything. And you can also call offices to ask, the Secretary of State questions, or whoever it is that you need to reach. You can find information to help you learn whatever it is, or get more information on it that the attorney is looking for.
And one more question. Do you belong to any professional organizations?
I don't. Lindsay belongs to a whole bunch of them. She is headed to just totally blanked on INTA. It's called INTA. She belongs to INTA, as well as several others. We do go to the conferences and all of that.
As a freelance paralegal at delegate.legal, right? Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for answering my questions, and thanks for the specific examples you provided as well. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I'll stop now.
Well, Lindsay's contact information is on there. Mine is Nikki at Delegate Legal, just Niki. Pretty straightforward. She's the business owner. She's been doing this, like I said, for 20 years-ish. I know technology and systems and processes and all of those things. And then I have less experience in paralegal than her, but I do have some experience.
I just had a question of Nikki about what the firm does to prevent UPL. I don't know if that's ever a problem in the case, or basically you're a subcontractor. So is there any specific things you have to set and keep on to prevent UPL?
So I know that she has insurance to cover us, but we do not take on any clients that are not attorneys. So all of our clients are the attorneys. We may engage with an attorney's client, but that is with the attorney's direct supervision. We CC them on any correspondence with that client. And if we happen to have a call with the client, typically the attorney's going to be on it, but if not, they're aware of it, and then we send them a synopsis after the call.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions for Nikki? All right, then, Nikki, thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise with us. Certainly an interesting topic, and some of our members may eventually want to escape the 9 to 5 and the old ball and chain and go out on their own. So this is always good information to have. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you to Anderson Reporting for providing our Zoom link and recording today's session. And with that, I will give you back the rest of your lunch hour. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a- Thanks again, Nikki.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome. Bye.
Okay.
Hey,
Lori,
I've got the attendance.
okay, so you'll send out the,
I will. Yep.
okay. Very good. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye-bye.